Hey, welcome to SuzieVision, the podcast. So this is the companion podcast to the SuzieVision YouTube channel. So if you have stumbled across this and you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, please do search for SuzieVision and it should come up. And I will leave a link in the description of this podcast episode as well. So essentially, this podcast is kind of a way of keeping fans of the YouTube channel up to date on all the latest news that relates to Disney, Lego, travel, tech stuff as well, and potentially other theme park things that are going on. Probably mostly UK based and Disney based, with maybe some Universal stuff thrown in as well. So yeah, welcome to the first podcast. Bear with me because this is the first time I've ever done any kind of podcast, so this is a little new to me. But coming up, we've got a summary of a fair amount of Disney news that's gone on in the last few months, and also taking a look at some of the latest Lego sets that are going on. Got a couple of travel news updates that might be of importance to Brits. And then we got some tech news as well, particularly some stuff that has happened in the last week. So let's get started with all things Disney. If you are a fan of Disney parks, you cannot escape the fact that Splash Mountain closed at the end of last month. This was talked about essentially ever since everything happened in America with George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. People have, whatever side of the debate you are on about whether you wanted Splash Mountain to change or not, Splash Mountain at Disney World has now closed, and they have already started getting the cranes up, changing stuff around in preparation for Tiana moving in. So that's certainly been all over the social media pages, people selling water from Splash Mountain, the insane queues that were going all the way through Frontierland down to Liberty Square on the closing weekend. It was manic. Now, I have to say, for myself personally, I said goodbye to it back in October. So, yes, I'm sad it's closed, but, the best thing about Disney is things change, things progress, things move on, and it has been around for a very long time. I've certainly ridden it so many times, I couldn't even tell you how many times. But the last time I was on it, I recorded a video so I can always look back on Splash Mountain as was, with Brer Fox, Brer Bear, and Brer Rabbit, and relive my childhood memories of the ride. And if you want to do that, you can check out our YouTube channel where we have that video of Splash Mountain from back in October. Now, having talked about something closing, the last few days has seen the opening previews for cast members and selected media for Tron Light Cycle Run. And already the gossip has been mounting about this ride. So for anyone that doesn't know, Tron Light Cycle Run is based on the Tron movies. And you get to go on the light cycle bike from the film, which, quite frankly, it's the only bit of the film anyone ever seems to remember, is those bikes and that grid. And I remember being able to play a video game for the first time where it had that grid and the light cycles, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It's essentially a bit like Snake, but who cares? There's like glowing lights and it's fantastic. And this is a ride that originally opened over in Shanghai, and I think it's Shanghai. Yes. Shanghai or Tokyo, in Asia, and they have ported it over to Florida. And it has been constructing in the construction phase for years at this point. It got held up by COVID. I mean, we've been waiting a long time for this ride to open in Florida. And immediately, various things have been flying from the previews on social media. The first one, which, if you've managed to escape this and you've seen stuff about Tron, it's a miracle, is whether it is fat friendly or poo friendly. Now, look, this ride, if you've seen a picture of the ride vehicle, you get on it in some ways in a not dissimilar position to in Avatar Flight of Passage. And from my own experience, I could not ride Avatar Flight of Passage because I simply did not fit the ride vehicle mechanism. So for me personally, I was kind of looking at Tron thinking, I bet it's the coolest ride ever, but I probably won't be able to ride it. So the idea that people are saying, oh, it's not very fat friendly, wasn't really a shock to me, especially as it was a ride that had come from Asia. As far as I know, they haven't changed the ride vehicles during the port. So it's not really a big shock to me. But what they seem to have done is created in the back of at least one of the trains, there are two seats that are, as it were, normal seats that you sit down in. So if you are unable to get on the bike type harness, you can sit in the regular seat. But the problem is there are only two of these seats. And so apparently the queues have been building up for the back of this train. Hopefully Disney will do something about it. Disney are not the only people to have encountered this problem. They've been encountering a similar problem over on Ratatouille, where I have heard that they have been having to change some of the rat ride vehicles from when it was ported over from Paris, because the thing about the parks in countries that aren't America is the average person in those countries tends to be smaller than the average American. And so the seats aren't always as comfortable for people of a larger physique. So apparently they've been having to change some of the ride vehicles over at Ratatouille to account for this. I personally do not have a problem with Ratatouille getting into it. I mean, it's not the coziest, it's cozy. It's not the most comfy ride ever, but I certainly have never worried about getting in it. But Universal have been having a very similar issue over at Mario Kart Universal Studios in Hollywood, where they have ported that ride over from Japan. And apparently that ride can seat you comfortably if you have a 40-inch waist or less, and the average American male has a waist of 40.5 inches. So it is pretty close to the average person in America, which is kind of crazy that they didn't think about this and check these figures beforehand. So again, whether they will do something to adjust it, don't know. In the case of Mario Kart and Ratatouille, they are just dark rides. They don't do any crazy motions or anything. So there's really no reason why everyone shouldn't be able to fit on those rides. Now, moving on from this, another opening that we've had over at Disneyland is Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And this has been having a unique problem, shall we say, that has nothing to do with the ride itself. So this version of Mickey's Runaway Railway is almost identical to the version in Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida. The main difference is that the ride queue is slightly different. So it's set up like a movie theater. There's a stand for movie snacks where you can get things like gummy bears and various things that are themed to stuff that you might recognize from other places. And very quickly, the salt and pepper that was next to the popcorn stand and affixed with screws to the popcorn stand desk disappeared in a kind of ripped out fashion. And I think Universal have been having a similar problem because they've put some of their decorations from the Mario Kart queue in a cage to protect them. So guys, please, let's all enjoy the ride queues, admire them, take pictures, yes, but please don't steal from them. I mean, like, what are you going to do with that? Like, if you post it to sell it, like, the police will come after you. Disney do not take these things lightly. Anyway, so that's a unique problem that they've been having. But apparently, other than that, the ride has been going down really, really well with West Coast fans. Now, Disneyland have been having another problem. This is signage mistakes for Disney 100. So they've been putting up these banners for Disney's 100th year, and they've been making some, shall we say, schoolboy errors that most Disney Parks fans, and certainly Disneyland fans, have straight away noticed the errors. So, for example, they got the year wrong that Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out. They also got the year wrong that the Matterhorn opened as well. Now, the thing with the Matterhorn is there was a big TV special at the time, back in 1959, to celebrate it opening. So it's kind of surprising that someone at the Disney Archives didn't kind of go, hey guys, doing the signs, like you got the year wrong here. Who knows? But they have apparently been correcting them. So hopefully the next time you go to Disneyland, they will have the signs looking absolutely fantastic. Now, getting back to the East Coast, people have been getting a bit frustrated when they've been staying at some of the Disney resorts because some of the benefits have been disappearing. Two really standout benefits that certainly had disappeared when I was there in October were free parking for resort guests at the hotels and in the park. You still get it in the parks, but you didn't get it at the hotel itself. And housekeeping or mousekeeping was, shall we say, a bit lacking in places. Well, good news, free parking for resort guests is already back. And by the end of the month, housekeeping will be back to a full service, and it will be happening either every day or every other day, depending on your resort. So great news for people staying at Disney resorts in the near future and going forward from that as well. Now, over in Disneyland Paris, they have just opened a new drone show at the Disney Studios park, which is going to be on until the 8th of May this year, and that is Avengers Power the Night. And it has been getting rave reviews. So if you are in Disneyland Paris, definitely something to check out. I've been seeing videos and it looks absolutely amazing. I believe it is the first daily drone show in certainly a Disney park, but possibly a theme park. So definitely go and check that out. Now, moving on to the cruise line. So we've had a whole bunch of cruise line news recently because this year is the silver anniversary of Disney Cruise Line. Yes, it is 25 years since the Disney Magic debuted in 1998. And the Disney Magic this year has been converting 11 of their veranda staterooms up to concierge. Now, whether that is a good thing or a bad thing really depends on whether you intend to stay in concierge or not, because sometimes these rooms can be very hard to get. So if you are a fan of concierge and you want to stay on the Disney Magic in a concierge stateroom, great news, there are more rooms to choose from. The downside for everyone else is there's less veranda rooms to choose from. So they have also been announcing all the things they are going to do to commemorate the silver anniversary. That includes introducing a new Pearl level to the Castaway Club. They're also having a brand new fireworks show, which is going to be going on, I believe, this summer on most of the cruises. They haven't actually said exactly which cruises. So I'm really hoping it's going to be on some of the ones coming out of the UK this summer, but there are certain areas where they are not able to launch fireworks, so it is not on every cruise. They are also introducing a special anniversary toast in the atrium of the ships, where you can have a nice toast of bubbly beverage with the various captains of the ship. Now that includes the human captain and, of course, our favourites, Captains Mickey and Minnie, who will also be there as well to celebrate. They're also bringing out this summer a new gift for silver members, which is a framed art print. And you can check out the Disney Cruise Line website to see what that looks like. It's quite a neat print. that I believe bigger versions of they've had on sale. So if you like your Disney art, worth having. They have said it's while supplies last, though, so hopefully everyone will get one, but there's no 100% guarantee. Now, a couple of other bits of Disney news items, and these relate to Disney Plus. Black Panther Wakanda Forever has finally arrived on Disney Plus. I finally got to see it because I wasn't able to see it in the cinemas. And guys, what a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. I mean, the whole film really is a tribute to him. I'm not going to give any other spoilers away, but if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It's been nominated for Oscars. Definitely worth a watch. And the other thing in relation to Disney merchandise, which I'm sure people will be cheering about when they hear, is if you are a fan of mouse ears, they are introducing shorter tags on mouse ears that are more easy to remove than the old style. I can't tell you how many tags I've tried to cut off, and it's really awkward when you're in theme parks because you usually don't have scissors, and then you're asking a cast member if they've got the scissors, and if you cut the tag off, like, you can't return it, and it gets so complicated. I'm so glad that they finally introduced shorter tags and ones that are easier to remove as well. So it makes wearing them a whole lot more comfortable and stylish too. Now, kind of moving on from Disney, but I'm going to jump back to Disney very, very shortly, is our Lego news section. So I'm going to talk about some of the new sets that they have brought out in the last couple of months and also in the next few months as well. So we have had, as of the 1st of February, the Disney 100 Brickhead sets that features Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, Steamboat Willie, Snow White, and Tinkerbell. That got released. If you're in the UK, currently retails for $39.99. Next month, we've got the Eve and Wally Brickheads coming out, along with the Cruella and Maleficent ones, and Moana and Merida. I have to say, I'm a huge fan of the Eve and Wally and Moana and Merida ones, partly because I just love the film Wally, and I love the film Moana, and I love the film Brave. So for me, I'm like, I can't wait for these to come out. We've also got new Star Wars and Marvel helmet displays. Some of the things they've included are Star-Lord, Leia in her bounty hunter outfit, and some of the clone troopers, including Captain Rex as well. Just announced today is the new Lego Lord of the Rings Rivendell set. And that kind of goes with some of the new Brickheads figures that they've released of Gandalf, Arwen, and Aragorn as well. We've also got Scarlet Witch and Iron Man keychains due to be released soon. The Harry Potter House banner sets featuring all 4 houses. We've got the Tri-Wizard Tournament set and the Room of Requirements set that have come out. And also at the beginning of the year, they released the, I might butcher this saying this because my Japanese is not up to scratch, but the Hokusai picture that they've done the Lego art version of. If you are not familiar with that name, it's also known as the Great Wave. And if you have ever seen any Japanese art, I guarantee you have seen the Great Wave picture because it is iconic. It's actually been sold out almost immediately from when it went on sale. I have not been able to get hold of it, and I've been desperately trying to get hold of it, and it is sold out in all the Lego stores and on the Lego website as well. So if you manage to get hold of one, congratulations, because it's clearly like the hottest set available right now. Now, moving on, we have some travel news. Not huge amounts of travel news here, but just a couple of bits. First of all, back in November, Virgin launched a new London to Tampa route, which has their latest aircraft on it. If you are used to flying to Orlando, sometimes Tampa can work out as a really nice alternative route. One, because sometimes it works out cheaper. And also, if you're not a big fan of Orlando Airport, it's actually, funnily enough, because of the way things work out, if you're driving, is not that much further to get from Tampa Airport to Disney as it is Orlando Airport to Disney, because there's a very nice highway that takes you straight there. So worth checking out if you're looking for alternative options that are flying direct still. And the other piece of travel news that happened this week, in fact, is that the UK passport costs increased. I know, sad faces, people, sad faces. It has gone up from £75.50 for an adult passport to £82.50. So not crazy amounts that it's gone up by, but it's still an extra cost to consider when you are traveling. As a reminder, you do typically need at least 6 months on your passport when you go abroad. So just something to bear in mind if you're budgeting for new passports. Now, moving on to tech news. So this week, Samsung launched their new S23 phones, and those are actually coming out on the 10th of February. Towards the end of January, Apple launched their second generation HomePod. So these are the big beast HomePods, if you like, that are a giant cylinder. I actually have the original first generation version. And to be honest, unless there is a feature on that second generation HomePod, if you've got the first generation, it still works absolutely fine. It still takes the latest updates. What it's not going to be able to do for you is have the temperature and humidity sensors that they've introduced, and a couple of other features as well. Now, talking about those temperature and humidity sensors, they have been secretly on the HomePod minis since those launched, but they've never been activated. Well, people, Apple has now activated those temperature and humidity sensors. So if you've got a HomePod mini, you want to get on there and update that, and then you will be able to see the temperature and humidity readings on the Home app of your device. And last bit of Apple-related tech. It's not really tech news, but it's tech news because it's related to Apple, I guess. And that is that Johnny Ive, the infamous or famous Apple designer who is responsible for all sorts of things that we now consider regular household items, he has designed the latest red nose for Red Nose Day for Comic Relief this year. And apparently it is the best red nose that has ever been designed, so they say. So if you are purchasing a red nose this year, it's Johnny Ive's. It's not the first time he's done something for Red Nose Day and for Comic Relief, but it is the first time he's designed the nose itself. So that is the end of our tech news and our news updates. I know this was a lot of information today, and hopefully the future ones will be a little bit shorter, but there has been so much Disney news over the last few months, and I'm always desperate to share my opinion on things, but because of the way my YouTube channel is working, it's not always the easiest thing to do it on there, because by the time I've got around to editing and doing everything, the news is out of date. So hopefully you have enjoyed this inaugural edition of the podcast, and it will be evolving over time as well. If you have enjoyed it, please hit those subscribe buttons. Check out our YouTube channel and hit subscribe on there. And also check us out on Instagram. Again, search for SuzieVision and we will, by the sheer powerful magic of technology, appear before your very eyes. That's all for now. Have an amazing day, week, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.